So, if I could, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Do what? Begin the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. We tried to move everything over to get away from the noisy wall. Hopefully it helps a little bit. With that said, any questions on the approval of tonight's agenda? If not, I'd like a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Make a motion we support or approve the agenda for February 9th, 2015.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Horton.
Yes.
Maureen.
Yes.
Dick.
Yes.
Approval of our meeting from January the 12th. Questions?
Make a motion we accept the minutes from January 12th, 2015.
I'll support that. Roll call, please.
Horton.
Yes.
Maureen.
Yes.
Dick.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. And now the treasurer's report.
Closed session minutes.
Oh, yes. Do we still have to vote on that? Okay. Questions on the closed session minutes?
No.
No? Can't discuss it?
I got a couple.
Okay, with that said, then motion to accept as presented.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Horton.
Yes.
Maureen.
Yes.
Dick.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. Now we can go right into the treasurer's report.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented, effective February 9th, 2015.
Support.
Roll call.
Horton.
Yes.
Maureen.
Yes.
Dick.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. We are ready for the public comment. Oh, bills and transfers. I'm all over the place. The green sheet, please.
I think that's green.
Yes, the bills and transfers. Any questions? I'd make a motion that we accept the bills and transfers.
Support.
Roll call.
Horton.
Yes.
Maureen.
Yes.
Dick.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. All right, now we can move on down to public comment. Anyone?
Henry Mortella, 8010 Schumann Drive. And I was up here a month ago with some questions, and I just wanted to tell you I appreciate you looking in the archives for the information about Mr. McKinney. And the minutes that you brought forth was June 30th, 2011. And the motion to terminate Mr. Jack Belzer as the village attorney because of his high fees. And Mr. McKinney or his representative will provide legal services until a new attorney can be found. I accept that as him being our attorney, even though it's 3.5 years later and we haven't voted a new one in, or him. But the problem I have is the motion. Right after that, it says, as no motion was ever made to terminate McKinney. That I find a problem with, because I found some minutes. November 8th, 2010. Motion to change attorneys to Mr. Jack Belzer of Grand Blanc, moved by Wortella, seconded by McAbee. Roll call vote. Wortella, yes. Jackson, yes. Horton, no. McAbee, yes. Maury, no. Carried. Motion to give Mr. McKinney a letter to let him know that Mr. Jack Belzer is the village attorney. So as you can see, there was a motion made.
What was the date you have there, the 8th?
November 8th, 2010. If you'd like, I could give you these minutes. Okay. So with that being said, I don't know why they put that in the minutes, but it shouldn't be there, that there was no motion made. The June 30th minutes. Okay, that's all I got. Thank you.
Anyone else?
We have public comment part two, though.
Yes. Anyone else?
I got something to say.
Sure.
Tricia Wortella, 8010 Schuman Drive. And I'm just here to bring up a fact that is probably you're in progress of looking over the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. And you're gonna review it and to make decisions and whatnot. Now, knowing the fact that right now we're in litigation with a lawsuit, we have the Wheelock-Watkins drain. I, as a taxpayer, as a resident, would appreciate very much if as a council, including the Mr. Tim Brannon and Jake Vick, be included to review jobs, review the importance of them, to review if the possibility of doing some consolidating to save the taxpayers money. I hope, and I'm urging this council to take into consideration that the balance that we have in our bank account is not near the amount that we need for legal, for the lawsuit, and for the Wheelock-Watkins drain. I think that you need to consider looking at everything, looking at how you can consolidate jobs, how you can minimize the cost to the taxpayers, because you're here for us. And I urge you to do that, and by all means, even the thought of raising taxes on the taxpayer before you even consider doing anything like that would be ridiculous, to say the least. And I'm just asking you right now, early enough, this is February 2015, that you consider doing that. It's very important. I was on that council. I know the importance. I know the amount of money that goes out in wages and benefits. And the last thing I want to say is we have an on-call fire department that works phenomenally. They do a great job. They cover Atlas Township. They cover the village. And we should consider that with our DPW services too. Thank you.
Anyone else? If we can, unfinished business, Genesee County Sheriff's Department report. Comments?
Did we ever get a report for the incidents that took place with the schools by chance? I know the school district was sending out emails to the parents saying that they found the guy or there was no issue or anything like that, but I haven't seen that in any of these reports. Or just like a little more detail on what they actually found.
I haven't heard of it.
Following the student home,
Yeah, yeah.
I can, ask for a report on that.
All right.
I'll just put it in your box.
That's fine.
That might have been township.
I don't know if the rest of the council looked at it, but we had a sheet that was in our box that, for the year. And there was approximately 1,000 traffic stops between Goodrich and Atlas over the year. And as far as tickets go, it's about 2%. So your chance of getting a ticket around here are real good, I guess, because there's only like 69 citations written out of 1,000 stops. And we're paying well over $600,000 a year for these guys. And you're never gonna slow traffic down on M15 if you don't hand out any tickets.
That's for sure.
Because the speed limit is 45 through there, and most of them go 55 or 60. So I really think maybe they could slow the traffic down on M15. These people at stop signs do mean stop. And it would be a big difference. I think it'd be a big help. But on the other hand, they give a ticket, you don't wanna pay it, you go to court, they don't let you go to court either, and I think that's bottom line. But we had one that came out with everything they did for the year, so there wasn't a lot of different citations. A lot of warnings.
Good.
Good.
Number 2, reports, street administrator, 9/11 water waste, parks and rec.
We've got a load of salt coming in tomorrow, our last 100 ton. Hopefully that's gonna get us through with no problems, but we got over 150 ton out there yet, so. The snow blower is back together. We feel we found the problem. We paid to have it assembled. What we found, we didn't think it was done correctly. There was a piece missing that caused the problem. So we're working with the company that we bought it from. Let's see what's gonna happen. But it is back, it's operable, we used it. And it seems to work a lot better and a lot different than it did when we first got it.
This is the second repair on it?
Yep, the second time I never even, they just turned it on to get ready to go into the sidewalk, and that's what the second one was. It wasn't even pushing any snow yet. It hadn't got to the snow yet.
Is there warranty issues that we were going after?
What
For the first repair?
yeah, they're talking with back and forth with the salesman, and if worst comes to worst, I'll, hijack Mr. Baldwin, him and I will talk to him and just see what they got to say, because that should never happen. They haven't had any of those shafts go bad before. And, it could be when that thing came into them, that part didn't come with it. They didn't notice it, we didn't notice it. We put it back together. But when we went to put the pin in today, the 12-inch pin, it's about a 12-inch pin, the holes didn't line up, so they had to take it all apart to realign it up. There's no way that was in there, the way we looked at it before. So, but it is up and running, hopefully it's gonna stay running. You guys been doing a good job keeping the roads clean. Cold patcher is in for repair. The furnace went out on it after it's 9 years old. It should be back by the end of the week. Everything runs, but the furnace went right. The furnace is shot. It's 9 years old. It just burns out because it gets so hot. That'll be back hopefully by the end of the week.
Are they gonna patch the holes right away, is that what they're gonna do?
Well, they plan on patching them the other day, but
They're hoping it's back tomorrow. Everything goes fine with you.
they didn't get it back today?
They're gonna pick it up in the morning.
Okay. And that's one of those things that was made in Saginaw, there's only not very many people. There's like 90% of the cold patch units are built right here in Saginaw, the other 10% is built in UP. You just can't run all over and get it done. And that's 90% that's for the United States. Other than that, they're doing a good job keeping the roads clean. I've been driving the Flint every day, and there's a big difference between here and there. I have nothing else.
Nothing on 911 or water and waste. I did get one more application for the Parks and Rec, so we have 4 at this point. Still isn't enough to call a meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't read anything in the paper. I thought we were gonna try to post something in the paper, a public
Both
announcement.
newspapers put something in the paper.
They did? We're in the back where it says public notice or anything
No,
like that?
just in their articles. I can put an ad in if that's the direction you want me going.
How many applications you have?
Pardon me?
How many, 4 applications you have?
How many do you believe that we should have? How many do you think that we should have? 8, 10?
I would say.
We're looking for volunteers.
Could you raise your hand?
Yep, I'll submit an application.
Oh, something.
I will.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Matthews.
that's the right guy.
Anything else you want to talk about with the rec?
Not there, under administrative.
We've gone down to code enforcement, which I don't think he's had any problems in Florida, is he?
He's in Alabama.
Alabama?
Gulf Shores.
He's been talking to a couple people about cleaning their sidewalk off and parking vehicles where they're not supposed to be parked. It's working long distance.
Good for him. You're a Tucker Dave, aren't we?
Yeah.
Administrative.
In your packets, at the last meeting, I was directed to try to set up a meeting with the state, and in your packets, it's like 2 response letters and my letter that I sent. My recommendation after talking to the state and getting the letter from Jeff Wright, that council make a motion that until this lawsuit is settled, there shouldn't be any more discussion about conducting a meeting until the council determines what they're gonna do with the mill pond actually too.
Can you speak on this? Sure. I would, I think last couple meetings I brought up of trying to bring in a company or so to do a study on the impacts of if we were to remove it and whatnot. I think reading from Mr. Trumbull, that's kind of what he is specifying in here. What is he, what do you guys really want him to talk about without having a proper study done? So I think before we make a motion to make it to that issue, I think we need to start getting some quotes, so to speak, from a couple different firms on what they would cost to come in here and have a real study done so we can present them with something. Also go after the settlement testing in there. I think you had mentioned last meeting you were going to look at Colin. I don't know if you reached out to them or not, but I think we need to pursue those people before we make this a dead issue.
I talked to a few different companies. To be honest with you, I even thought, and I kind of talked to Jackie about getting a hold of Mr. Trumbull and talking to him, because I know that he's going to have some input on some labs that we could probably use too. But without anything else, I'd be out of line to ask Mr. McKinney what he would advise us to do.
Regarding a study or discussions?
To continue anything that we're talking about, any more further discussions about the dam, the settlement, anything that pertains to it. Can you advise us what?
Well, I think you should, the dam and the mill pond are part of the litigation. That came up just this last week as the structure that the village owns that contributes to the problem. And I also heard at deposition, contrary to what I heard at the meeting here, that Jeff Wright is not speaking to the parties. He's made that clear. So that's the advice attorneys give their clients, not to talk about these things while the litigation's pending. That's my advice to you.
If I may, I understand what he's saying about Jeff Wright's comments, and I don't think we were implying that Mr. Wright was just spilling information over the lawsuit when we had general questions on the cost of the drains, where they're going to start from. Some people don't even know what the Wheel-Like-Watkins drain actually is. Those would be the questions that Mr. Wright would be answering, not so much who's responsible for the charges, who's at fault, or anything of that nature, which some people may try to throw out, but again, that'd be a question that we wouldn't allow to get asked.
Well, so you don't cross that line, they pretty much tell you not to have those conversations.
But that's where I believe Mr. Graham was speaking when we had that meeting with Virginia up there. Some folks asked those questions, and we were in litigation at that time, and Mr. Wright was answering those. So I believe that's where those statements were coming from.
My recommendation still is to make a motion that we don't pursue a meeting or anything else that has to do with the dam and the mill pond until litigation's over.
Mr. Moore?
I feel we should just leave it alone until litigation's over with, because until we find out where we're at, we don't know what we can do. And that's in June, and if it goes to court, that could be 2 years from now. They're still going to court, and I'm sure the state, if we're in court over this, is not gonna be in here pushing any panic buttons, because they feel it's good for 10 to 15 years, 15 years at the max. And they're very happy with what we did last summer fixing it. And they also had some quotes that we got before this started where they would come in and actually refurbish that dam for about somewhere between $300,000 and $400,000 for the last maybe 50 years. So there's lots of ways to look at it, but those sessions, or these lawsuits, pretty much tie your hands at trying to put something out there. Because you could put something out there, and what happens if a lawsuit could destroy it.
But it's just preparing ourselves and having a study done going against the lawsuit or any litigation. I don't understand how that's hurting us.
I'm thinking that Mr. McKinney's saying that it could. That's the possibility.
It's a prophylactic measure. You don't talk about these things, so you won't talk about something that shouldn't be discussed. That's the rule.
Anything else?
I have a lot, but I'll let it go.
I'm looking for a motion. And I shall make the motion that we table any further discussion on this until we resolve the litigation.
Support.
For roll call, please, can I have clarification on the motion? Are we still gonna discuss dam issues and we're just making a motion to not have these representatives come in? That's what the motion's being made?
We are not going to discuss the dam issues.
The dam and mill pond, or bringing in outside agencies.
Any discussion
Talk about
pertaining
it.
to the mill pond dam.
It's all that's on the agenda.
So by making that motion, when we go to discuss the Wheel-Like-Watkins drain on our time constraints with Mr. Jeff Wright, we are not gonna be able to discuss the mill pond and any of those proposals?
No, we probably shouldn't even be discussing Wheel-Like-Watkins, but
Only closed session.
I'm sure Mr. Wright has been,
you're gonna, he's not gonna discuss the whole thing very much of this anyway.
Well, you're right, he's not gonna discuss it, but, I mean, I think like a certain public act, and Mr. McKinney can tell me what it is, but as, again, I'll repeat myself, if the board of terminations comes in and sees that an issue needs to be resolved, he's obligated to come in here and resolve it, and we've given us an opportunity to pick one of these things. And again, we've got to have that discussion, according to Mr. Wright, by 2016 or sometime around there, and the mill pond and the dam and the drain and the culvert and all this is combined. You can't just shut the door with one motion saying we're no longer discussing this, and then all of a sudden he's gonna come in and just start working, and we had no say in it. I don't think we're doing our due diligence to our taxpayers.
I'll follow up with Mr. Wright's attorneys as to what their position is on it. But I strongly suspect that their position is it's in litigation. We talk about it in litigation. It's on the table in litigation, but we don't talk about it outside litigation.
The drain is a big portion of the litigation.
Yes,
To
it
what
is.
happened because of the drain.
Right.
Then with respect to this council, I'd like to make an amendment to the motion that we table this motion until McKinney gets an answer next meeting.
I could live with that. I'll support that.
You're,
Jeez.
I made an amendment to the original
no,
motion.
you don't make amendment to the original motion.
I can't make an amendment.
You've made a motion. You're rescinding that motion.
Yes, can I do
Okay.
that?
You can do that.
You can withdraw the motion, or actually, a motion to table takes priority, so the motion to table supported by you would be the motion that would be voted on next.
And leave the motion
Leave the
there, so
motion
it's
pending,
as
it's on the table.
Okay,
yes.
so then
It's
you're
actually
making a motion
postponed is
to,
the language, but, yes, the motion to table has priority.
okay,
Motion to table, motion to table.
Yes.
yeah.
We want to have a roll call vote for that. We all set that back?
Motion to table and, Vic
No, but I support it.
and Baldwin. Hold on. Got these extras in there. Horton,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Vic,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
And the last thing I have on administration, I will be leaving after work tomorrow for vacation and be back on the 21st.
Then bring us back some warm air.
Not going down anywhere here. Person from Good Times in Goodrich is here.
So if we could, let's, Good Times in Goodrich.
Hi, my name's Jennifer McKenzie. I chair Good Times in Goodrich, and I just thought I'd quickly come in and give you all an update on what's happening. I also have to ask permission to use the park. We've changed the date this year from the end of August to the beginning of August. Gets it away from the Crim, which was a big hurdle for us because of getting vendors and all that kind of stuff. So we've moved to the weekend of the 1st and 2nd of August. So we'd like to ask your permission to use the park on those dates. It is the date of the Kayla O'Mara race, and Erin and I have been in discussion about that, and they're fine with it. It'll be the, one less road closing, for the month of August. So it will take a very, very similar format to what we've done in the past. The O'Mara race will run, then we'll have the parade, which the fire department hosts, and then we'll have festivities in the park on Saturday and Sunday. So I just thought I'd come down and, let you know what was happening and if there was any questions or anything like that. I've included Mrs. Sidge on our email chain, so she'll get regular monthly updates at the end of every meeting and all that kind of stuff. I think Mr. Vic may be on there as well, and Mr. Brannon may be, because they kindly attended one of our formation meetings. So that's about all I have, unless you've got something that you need to ask.
The dates have been secured on calendar for
Okay,
first and second.
thank you so much. Okay, well, that was it, and again, Mrs. Sidge has my contact if any of you ever have any questions or anything like that, and again, she'll be getting an email after every meeting, so that's about all. Okay, thank you.
We reserved it already, but just so that you're given the permission to conduct their Good Times at Goodrich on that weekend. In the park.
Make a motion that Good Times at Goodrich can have the park on August 1st and 2nd for their fun time.
So motion to let the good times roll.
Yes, that is very good. I like that.
Okay, Maureen.
Yes.
Support. Mr. Vick. Horton.
Yes.
Maureen.
Yes.
Vick.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Number 6 is the We Can't Talk About Dam.
And we can't talk about
And
Sidewalks are exciting.
let's move right on down to sidewalks then.
I hope they're better come spring.
Are we, taking addresses down and where we keep damaging our equipment at all these sidewalks, we can get them repaired this spring?
Well, I think the reason it happened is because of misintent. And we put a different set of feet on that thing down. That's not gonna happen again. And if you go out there May 15th, that sidewalk will be flat again. It's just like N15, it's a mess this year. It's just heaving. It's been smooth till 2 weeks ago. Every 40 feet there's a line that's come up with a frost. Prairie Road is bad. 2 years ago it raised it out here real bad. You get right in front of the door. The frost, water gets under certain places and it just pushes it up. As soon as it thaws, it goes right back down. And I really think the whole problem was pin not being in there. Probably do this. It's not doing that now. It's going down straight.
What's that? Good, Pete?
I'm good.
Number 8, the Wheelock Watkins drain that we can't talk about. Number 9 is our closed session, so I'm looking for a motion so that we can have a closed session.
Make a motion, we have a close the meeting and go to closed session with our legal counsel.
Support. Roll call.
Horton.
Yes.
Maureen.
Yes.
Vick. Baldwin.
I'm getting up there, old fella.
Did you?
Yes, I'm good.
Did you vote?
I won't.
Did you need help? We'll have him home before breakfast.
Lunch at the latest. Good.
Motion to return to our regular meeting.
Support.
Horton.
Yes.
Maureen.
Yes.
Vick.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. Okay, new business, household hazardous waste. Please, Jackie.
Every year we participate in the household hazardous waste monetarily to provide this service to all people in Genesee County. We're not sure where it's going to be this year. It will be at the City of Flint's sanitation plant on Court Street, but we don't know what other area it will be in, and they're asking for a $250 donation. I'm just wondering, council's approval for that.
We do that every year, too, don't we?
Yes.
Discussion?
I'd like to make a motion that, send the $250 for,
Report.
Roll call, please.
Horton,
yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. Public comment, please.
You wanna talk first? No, go ahead. Okay. Patricia Wartella, 8010 Schuman Drive. I have two things to ask. Mr. President, if you'd make sure Schuman Drive, when it's being plowed, when they put that cul-de-sac in at the end of our road, it was put in, and it was put in for a purpose. It was for emergency vehicles. If you see how it's being plowed, they couldn't even turn around if they had to with all the snow that we've had. So I'm asking the street administrator if you would direct him to, if we have another snowfall that accumulates, to make sure that the DPW workers do it correctly. So if we do have an emergency, that cul-de-sac can be used and it can be used effectively. The second thing I want to bring up and ask is on your green sheet that you approved, and this is a question I have, is you paid out $646.05 to Schultz Incorporated for 869 gallons of removal, and I'm just asking what that was for.
I can answer that. That was clean the pit in the garage and the outside pit. When the equipment comes in, there's trench drain in there, everything runs in there through the year. It goes into an outside pit and it has to be pumped by Schultz. You cannot just clean it and take it out and dump it, because it has oils and salts and everything, and it's off the trucks. And you're mandated by law to have them come in and clean your pit once a year. And they came in, vacuumed the pit out, cleaned the pit out, shoveled the trench out, and they do it usually once a year.
Okay.
It's sanitation purposes because it has environmental minerals in it.
Okay. Now, the last thing I'm gonna ask you, Mr. President, is that we heard that the snow blower is now fixed and it's working, correct? Correct? Okay. We have a bike path, and I see that the bike path has been cleaned off to a certain point, and again, and I'm gonna bring this up to you, and I do it all the time, is the fact that that bike path is hazardous, to say the least. And I know you've got your snow blower fixed now, but we do still have residents who plow huge amounts of snow in the pathway. And I wanna ask you though, how far you're gonna go cleaning that bike path? You take it all the way to the high school?
You know, it's village limits unless the township wants to pay us, and they don't seem to wanna pay us to do it.
Okay.
It's up to the township. We take it to the village line, we've been cleaning it with the truck, and we've been salting it with our salter. And where they're putting snow in it is outside the village.
Not necessarily, let me tell you, I'm there daily, I know. But I'm just bringing that up to you, I'm not here to, I
It's
just
the
wanna let you
third,
know.
it's the third thing we do. Roads are first, and then we get to the
Okay.
sidewalks and bike.
But please, please, I urge you, when you get your DPW out there and you're removing snow on Schuman Drive, we had emergency vehicles, they could not do the turnaround. And Fosters were parking out in the middle of that turnaround because of the snow. It was not plowed correctly. And I'm bringing it up because I'm sure we're
We'll
gonna have
plow
a
it the
lot.
way you want it. Other people in the village that have those turnarounds wanna put in the middle because they don't want it in the yard.
Well, I gotta tell you what, if we have emergency vehicles, a fire or ambulance or whoever we need down there, they're not gonna be able to use that. So I'm just bringing it up. It's for the health and safety of this community. Thank you.
The snow removal on the sidewalks other than M15 belong to the homeowner. Only reason we have M15 is because when the state put it in there, they mandated us to do the east side of the road and down by the boat ramp.
Okay, I'm just talking bike path though.
In the bike path, we do the village bike path,
Okay,
not the township.
but what I'm telling you though, and the information I'm giving you though,
And if there's snow being put on there, we'll have to go to the residents because it says in here they cannot plow it on there.
okay, all right.
Were any of these in the back?
Yeah.
What the snowplow? It is an issue with the sidewalks. And I'm only gonna real quickly touch on this for at the end of the meeting anyway. But if you picked up one of those in the back where it talks about, and even cites the charter and the laws, the stipulations as far as plugging or the
And Schumann
sidewalks.
Drive, to make
And
sure
and
it's,
we've tried to enforce it this year. The only way you're really gonna get the message across is if some people get some tickets. But Schumann Drive I'll go down and take a look at it too and we'll see.
well, it's melted now, but I'm talking when we had the huge snows. So, it's not completely melted, but it's there.
Okay. Please.
I actually, glad you brought that up. I was gonna come here and I was gonna complain
Who
and I
are
was
you?
gonna bring solutions. Oh, I'm Sheila Barr, live at 8304 Pleasant Court, right in Tillman. And I wasn't gonna complain, I was actually gonna try to offer solutions because that's the best way to go about things is to try to bring some alternative options. On my way here, I thought, okay, one of the, I was gonna go to your heart, pull on those heartstrings. I was gonna bring my son, I'm gonna say, here, this is why I'm here, and this is what I'm, want to have done. And thank goodness I brought him because he said, hey Ma, the sidewalk's plowed. And that was the exact reason I was coming, was because the sidewalks were not plowed. My son works at Goodwill, he is it okay to say, he has special needs.
Go ahead.
He does not drive, so he walks to work. So I made a point last year to try to get that done and taken care of. I knew it was plowed once, I saw it already months ago or whenever we had that snowfall the last time. And so I was kind of waiting and waiting, just kind of keeping my mouth shut, they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it. And of course I was at my wit's end yesterday, I'm like, gotta go. Council meeting's Monday night. And sure enough, like I said, it was plowed. So I really commend you to be getting those sidewalks cleared off for him because that's really, obviously my own issue is, to what her issue was about every other sidewalk and stuff, when I was investigating, the sidewalks and how you go about managing them, I did realize that there were people who are being ticketed for not plowing their snow on the in the sidewalks. So I know it's getting done, I don't know each individual, I won't mention names on who that was that got the ticket, but they are doing a better job, I believe, than they were in past years, because I have watched and noticed, at least in my area, that's post office, he comes up on that same side of the street. Goes up and walks to the Goodwill. So I do appreciate your time. One thing about breaking down, I was just wondering, now I don't know for sure, but is there proper training on the use of the equipment, or what is it actually that, is the problem? I know we all have issues with broken down machinery as well, but, the man in my life will always tell me, make sure you know what you're doing before you get out there and do it.
There wasn't so much training on this, as a new piece of equipment, we paid to have it assembled, and it wasn't assembled properly.
Okay.
And that caused us a lot of headaches, a lot of time,
And I
tearing
figured-
it apart, putting it back together, and then finding out what was wrong with it. We're still dealing with the people that we bought it from, because we
Okay.
bought 2 plows from them. We spent some money with them this year.
And at least you're
And
getting to the root of the problem. And I'm sure
we
that was probably
apologize
the
for
delay
not
of.
getting it done, because they started on the second day of the event. And
Yeah.
it broke, it took 4 days to get apart. This last part, they overnighted it, and we got it this morning, well, it was through the weekend too, but we got it quickly.
Well, I'll tell you, I appreciate it. I know you could hear a lot of the bad stuff, but I'm here to tell you, I didn't have to complain, that you beat me to the punch, and I appreciate it.
We win one.
You do, and sometimes that's a good thing.
Yes.
So at least you can walk away on that good note, hopefully, so.
Thank you for
very
coming
much,
anyway.
guys.
Anyone else?
Katie Vick, 9341 Green Road. Just to comment on that, if it was broken for 4 days, I mean, couldn't somebody pick up a shovel? I mean, how busy are they really this time of year? I probably could have done that strip up and down M15 a couple of times in 4 days.
We ran that old piece of equipment up and down this thing here, and it took about 2 gallons of gas and about 5 hours. Just to go from here up top and back, and walk behind.
Well, I'm just saying for future, when all else fails, the
Well,
machines
all
don't
else
work.
fails, it shouldn't break this thing now to put together properly.
So, and then in regards to the issues about the litigation and the dam and not discussing everything, I mean, you really gotta think about that kind of a decision, because we got the budget coming up. We should be discussing where we're gonna start pulling some money aside for. We're gonna need to think about the dam. We're gonna need to think about the money we're gonna need to test our sediment. We need the money for the lawsuit, we need our attorney fees. Money, money, money. That's gonna be an endless topic, and all of those subjects are gonna come into play over and over, and I really can't see how well it's gonna suit any of us to just sit on the dam doing nothing for 2 years. I mean, how long is this lawsuit gonna take? We can't sit on our hands for 2 years. We're gonna leave this whole town with a mud pit. If we don't make decisions, if we don't start gathering facts, if we don't get our data together, we're gonna be at square one when the lawsuit's over. And we don't know what kind of lawsuit's gonna determine, but I don't wanna just be starting out 2 years from now, just because somebody's opinion says we shouldn't discuss it. I think we should get a second opinion even.
Anyone else? Anybody from council? Mr. Vick? Mr. Moore?
Nope.
Bachelor?
I may not be here next month, I may be in Florida. What? Going down, make sure you see where your wife is at.
Is she in Florida? Motion to adjourn.
Support.